Garages were designed for cars, and that idea made sense when daily life revolved around driving, when distance shaped everything. But in more walkable places, that assumption starts to loosen. The car becomes optional, and the garage, it slowly turns into something else, usually without much intention. For a lot of people, the garage became a place to hold what no longer fits anywhere else. Things we don't need every day, things we're not ready to get rid of. Over time, it stops being a space with purpose and starts functioning more like a holding pattern. So this project started by asking a different question. What if the garage wasn't used to store what we don't need, but instead supporting something we actually want to do? Today, I want to convert this garage in a semi-urban area from just a holding place into a retreat for a rider. I always begin with sketching, but here the drawings weren't about exploring options. They were more about setting limits. Very early on, the idea of a hidden wall emerged, mostly because I thought it was cool, but also it becomes very functional. A continuous plane of bookshelves, not just for storage, but also for concealment. Behind it, the entry. The sketching focused heavily on how that wall would work, proportions, rhythm, how it would read as furniture rather than architecture, and the goal was for the space to feel discovered, not just entered. In the model, the bookshelf wall became the anchor of the entire project. It's doing several things at once. It stores finished work and reference material, it hides the entry, and it establishes a psychological boundary between the outside world and the workspace. Modeling this took a bit of time, not because it's super complex, but because it had to feel inevitable. If the door's too obvious, the illusion breaks. If it's too hidden, it becomes frustrating. The balance lives somewhere in between. So before entering the room, there's a small holding space. Not a hallway, not a lobby, just enough room to pause. And this pause matters. It creates separation. Not physically, but mentally. This is also where sight contacts intentionally stops playing a role. There's no views to frame, no orientation to optimize, and the focus, it turns inward. Inside the space, the workspace is extremely restrained. You have a bookshelf on the back wall and just a small window up high to allow some daylight in, but not to allow the views. There's no television, there's no secondary screens, no alternate modes of use, just a desk, some seating, and a laptop. The absence of windows isn't about control. It's about removing constant visual negotiations. Nothing here competes for your attention. And that limitation becomes its own kind of freedom. The bookshelves, they're going to hold completed works and references. They're not meant to impress anybody. They're meant to remind you. And plants are used throughout just to soften the edges of the space and include some variation without extreme distractions. They add life without adding noise. The color palette of the space, it stays deep and grounded. Lighter colors tend to advance, darker ones recede. Here, the space steps back so that the work can move forward. The lighting is softened and task-oriented, shaping where attention lands without announcing itself. In the end, the garage doesn't pretend to be something else. It's still a secondary space, but it's no longer accidental. What used to hold forgotten things now holds intention. And sometimes that shift is all a space really needs. So what do you think? If you're a writer or somebody that just needs focus, could you convert an unused garage that just holds old boxes into something that's deeply focused and intentional and allows you to be the person you really wanted to be? Let me know. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, always design with intent.